Hey everyone, it's Kato, and today I'm going to be discussing cottagecore in Animal Crossing. And a question that I see asked a lot is, what is cottagecore? So, the Wikipedia definition of cottagecore is it's an aesthetic which celebrates a return to traditional skills and crafts such as foraging, baking, and pottery. Cottagecore aesthetic emphasizes nature, simplicity, and peacefulness. So basically all that's saying is cottagecore is an aesthetic that focuses on nature. So first off, I wanted to show some real life inspiration pictures of what cottagecore would look like in real life. So a lot of these pictures are going to be nature focused with lots of greenery, flowers, plants and trees. You also see dirt and stone paths. You can just kind of get the feel for what cottagecore is. Another question I see asked a lot are, what are some good villagers for my cottagecore island? So now I'm going to show some slides of different villagers that I would suggest if you want cottagecore themed villagers on your island. You kind of have to decide, do you want the actual villager to be cottagecore themed, or do you want the house to fit into that aesthetic? I recommend just Googling all of the Animal Crossing villagers, and you can see which ones you think would best fit whatever theme you're going for. So the next biggest question is, how do I create a cottagecore aesthetic on my island? So the good thing about cottagecore is anyone can do it. The biggest thing is to just focus on natural environments. You want to have lots of cliffs, waterfalls, trees, flowers, stuff like that. And you want things to feel natural. You want it to feel like it's just flowing together seamlessly. You don't want things too symmetrical. So you want to have curves in your rivers, variation in your waterfalls, and that's going to give you that cottagecore vibe. I also suggest neutral tones, lots of browns, whites, stuff like that. You can go for color, but neutral tones is the easiest if you're just starting off. So I wanted to show a few of my favorite cottagecore items. So I'm going to show those off here. I've got the jail bars, the wooden barrel, garden wagon, of course the tiny library, a stack of books, the regular book, and the wooden stool. And then I also wanted to show you guys a couple of my favorite, what I like to call sprinkle patterns. And so these are kind of just filler patterns that will add texture to your island. If you just have an open grassy area, you can put down those patterns and it will help to just have some variation in your island. Or if you're using one of the in-game paths, you can put those over the path to just have it more pleasing to the eye. And of course, I'm using the path that everyone loves, which is the path. I'm just using the original one that Didim2_Mori on Twitter created. I'll have all of the custom pattern codes down in the description below, as always. The next thing I wanted to do was to show you guys just a simple area using several of my favorite cottagecore items. So I'm just going to create a little reading nook or picnic area over here. And of course, Poppy is not having it. He is unwilling to move out of this spot. So I'm just going to go ahead and build these cliffs around him and hope that he will eventually move. So I'm going to let you guys watch me build here, and then I'll come back and I'll talk about it some more in just a minute. Okay, so you'll see me here creating some of those waterfalls that I talked about. And you can see where I vary. I've got a 1 wide waterfall and then a 2 wide waterfall. I just feel like this variation helps to make it look more natural. And then I am going to round off the cliff here so it doesn't look so block style, I guess. All right, so now of course I'm going to be adding some trees. I always like to add trees to my different areas just to make it feel more naturey. And then once I'm closer to finishing my island, I'm going to go back in and add even more trees because I really want it to feel foresty throughout my island. But I like to leave myself space to add more decor, and then once I'm finished, I'll go back and add more trees and flowers where I need them just to fill the space. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna plan out where to put my trees and place those down. All right, so now I'm placing down my path to connect where my bridge leads. I just wanted to have a little path going by this area, and I prefer using my Nook phone to lay the path. You can obviously use the building app. I just like to lay one piece at a time to get the edge of the path down, and I normally vary up which piece I'm laying, and so it doesn't make sense for me to go into my designer app each time, or to go into the building app. I don't know what it's called. The building tool. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I always just go on the phone. That's just what's easiest for me. Do what's easiest for you. And I recommend laying out the borders of the path first and then placing the center tiles. That's easier for me so I can see where I want the path to lead and then just go back in and fill it in. right, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the space with different flowers, my leaf patterns, any flower patterns I want to put down, and then I'm going to extend this area onto the beach a little bit and add some weeds and other designs and fencing over there, and then I'll be finishing this up. Alright, so here's the final area. I really like how this turned out. Just a super simple picnic reading nook that is pretty easy to recreate on your own island. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you had any questions about what is cottagecore and how you can start to implement cottagecore aesthetic on your island. If you did enjoy the video, I'd appreciate it if you'd like it and subscribe. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.